the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have a quorum. Steve and I are both present. Shane sends his regrets today. And we will go over the consent agenda. See if you have any changes to the consent agenda.
I do not. So
Okay, just need a motion.
I move that we adopt or approve the consent agenda.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, consent agenda passes. And we'll open it up for any public comment. No? Okay, there's no public comment. We will move on to the liaison reports. Steve, to the town of Avon.
There was one town council meeting since our last meeting, and I was unable to attend that, so I would refer anyone who wants to see what happened there to the Town of Avon Document Center.
Okay. And I as well do not have a school update, just because the meetings have been so close, I didn't have a chance to reach out to Dr. Wyndham, so I'll have that next time. Anything from the library? Nope. Okay. We will move on to department reports. Due to the early date of this meeting, those reports are going to be emailed to the board by October 10th. Does anybody have anything pressing or urgent that they would like to share? Nothing? All right, trustee report.
Well, my report basically has to do with the meeting. The other thing is we had our Station 144 ribbon cutting yesterday. Well, appreciate everybody came. And,
Okay. All right, under old business, Station 144 and Murphy Park project update.
The only update I have is about the playground. We did hear from R.L. Turner that they are going to be starting on the playground on October 12th. So,
The behind the scenes piece?
yes, it got delivered. But they are from Michigan, so that's why they can't come until October 12th. So, I've been told it only takes a couple days once they have everything. So I'm hoping that I'll have a better update next month.
Okay. And then Station 144?
I said the recruit class training, but as far as I know, they're just waiting on the trainers.
That was pretty much what we said yesterday, yeah. And then the gentleman said, I can't remember when he said that would be available by.
November-ish.
Yeah. All right, I think they just said, could we please try to get it before it freezes outside? So, yeah, for the first big step would be nice. All right, update on special transportation project.
still working on the vehicle. At the next meeting, we'll have additional appropriations, and in that will be that vehicle. And then also this land purchase to develop the vehicle. So, but that vehicle we've selected for them. So.
Okay. Have you identified one?
Got a few,
Okay.
I've got some input from Shane, and I've asked one of them to look at too. There's some input.
Okay. All right, sounds good. All right, under new business, resolution 100422-01, approval of the 2023 township budget.
So the budget, you have the sheet there for you to do. One thing I want to pass on to you, I did talk to Jeff Peter because the tax rate on that was high. We published it high, and then when we get to 1782, we'll bring it back down. And actually, he told me that with the increased assessed valuation, that actually the tax rate will probably be even lower than what he had in the 5-year plan. So, which is even better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that caught my eye, I just wanted to make sure that it was like last year. The budget amount is correct with the tax rate. And also the big difference is because of local income tax all having to be identified starting next year in the general fund. That's why you see the general fund budget increased considerably over last year, because part of fire and part of the parks budget are included in the general fund. One thing I misstated at the last meeting is that I said the appropriation reports that the department heads would get would be like they are now. No, they will actually have to go to, the park and fire will each have to go also look at general fund under their line items and send general fund to see where they're at on those particular line items. So,
And then if I'm correct, we don't need a motion for this one because we each
you
do
each have to
either,
publicly state how you're voting.
okay,
Your choice is aye, nay, or abstain.
okay.
And you have to have a quorum, obviously you do, you have to have two votes.
Okay, for the 2023 budget, I will be voting aye. Do I need to mark Shane as abstain or just leave it blank?
Just leave it blank.
Okay.
And likewise, I will also be voting aye.
Okay, moving on to resolution 100422-02, new township park positions.
Action.
Yeah, that's it. We have on there the assistant camp director. And then we also have on there the, marketing director. And we described those two positions when we talked about the budget. Do you have any questions about them? We kind of did just, we looked at a couple other parks departments that have similar positions. And then we kind of added what fit best to our department.
And they will not be hired till 2023, that's when it's not a salary resolution, along with the
Okay.
with the one we do at the end of the year.
But this will allow them to start advertising the positions and, doing the interview and everything, but the position will not become effective until January 1. If they will be reflected in the 2023 township salary resolution, which you will get in next month or no, or December. I don't know which we do that. Doesn't matter.
Because we don't,
So we like to do it next month. then.
we do it next one.
Hmm?
We do it November, we'll just have to do it again consider.
All right, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but this new position is mainly reporting to the parks director, but will also be shared with the other departments as needed. How does that work?
Which one, the marketing?
Yeah.
So the marketing director will report to me, but 25% of what they do will be for the township and 75% for us, which is basically what that position is doing right now.
Right.
Anyways, it's kind of a more fair split,
Right.
basically, but it will allow us to still live stream everything in these meetings and some important posts that we need to make on our Facebook page. We'll be able to do that with this position.
Okay, that's what I thought. Steve, do you have any other questions?
No, I do not. I move we adopt resolution 100422-02, new township park positions.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes. All right, and then Don, you had a comment about the surplus
Yeah,
resolution?
because fire didn't have the information ready to provide for that surface resolution, we are withdrawing that resolution.
All right, then we will move on to resolution 100422-03, approval for the purchase of property at 7040 Governor's Row, Avon, Indiana, for a future fire station.
So, as you know, we've been looking for additional properties for future potential fire stations and convenient. The southern area properties are becoming very, very scarce. This was opened up, we have players been sanctions are been taking care of a lot of our real estate transactions for us. He's here to answer any questions, and of course, Government Chief Allen's here to answer questions too, as far as the footprint and all that. But this property is actually, we're buying it for less than what it pays for, so I think you guys do that.
You have some questions, Steve, do you want to
Yeah,
start?
in reading the appraisal, both of them hit on the, I guess there's a lane that they use the word encroaches on the northern edge of the property, I think it looks like it's in the tree line or something like that. And,
The piece that I would think that they're talking about is the east end of the property. There's a lane, a paved access to the daycare.
mhm.
And actually, part of the daycare parking lot would be part of that property.
Right, yeah, and I saw that was in one of the, in one of the appraisals that was discussed, and that was kind of, you know, set up as a formal easement with that, but it looks like, and both of them mentioned that there was an encroachment on the north edge of that property in a lane that services back a property that looks like it's on the northeast corner of our proposed property. I guess my concern is, and it doesn't come up when they talk about some of in the title work that's been done so far, which means that it's you know, there's nothing been formalized about it. I don't know if it's just there. I don't know if, because it's been there for a long time, that causes heartburn, you know, if we try to get it resolved. I don't know how much, I mean, we've got, what, it's 1.8 and fractions acres. You know, I'm concerned about, you know, with the easements from the east, if we've got an easement there that we have to formalize, then does that get the footprint too small to make it feasible to do what you gotta do?
Right.
That would be my concern.
I would pump that to the realtor. I don't, you know.
Yeah, I don't either. It's easy to ask the questions. It's not hard, not real.
I guess it would depend on if the easement was on the south side of the tree line, because the tree line splits the property. Or that's the property line is inside the tree. So
You're talking about the north side?
the north side, yeah.
I haven't seen the appraisal, so I probably,
I would assume if it was an easement, it would be on our property or that property on the south of the tree line.
the easement that I think you're talking about is the easement, the driveway to the
Yeah,
daycare.
that's formalized. I'm talking about an encroachment. There's an easement says, yeah, we've granted it, no problem. But an encroachment is they're using the land without a formal agreement.
Could be,
Am I,
So when I read that, I thought it was the east property.
am I doing too much legalese there? And
No, you're not. I'm just kind of making a gesture to let you know that I'm available and I've done a lot of real estate work in the last 20 years, if you like.
jump right in there. Tell me what I don't know.
No, you're hitting the target in the tree. Your issue is, and this is what I always kind of my colloquial way to express it, you're narratively explaining, the appraisals narratively explain something that I better understand graphically, and I think we need a survey. And that's almost always a necessity before you acquire real estate. We're under contract. We've got appraisal, so we've met the appraisal element of going forward. Don and Clarence have got below appraisal, and so that's good. Title work, I literally, we've got soccer practice tonight. I have it in the bag, and I would start title review, and that's always step one of what does the recorder say. Others say may encumber or have an interest or whatever, recorded easements, mortgages, judgments, what have you. What do we need to go down that list? And I write a letter and say, no, 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 and no, and you'll take those off. And probably Mr. Comer's office will close this for us, and they'll go through and we'll have a little back and forth on what your final title looks like. You're talking about two things that I think we need to see depicted on a survey, and we're going to build a fire station. So we've got to get stage one of, if we're going to have someone design a fire station, they're going to say, hey, I got to see what my footprint is, and and they're going to put them in what they call dog files, DWG files. They're old CAD files and dog files. they'll just go over to the designer and that'll be the floor template, and they'll start laying out drives and paddocks and buildings and all that. So it's an essential step to make sure, hey, we want to buy this and we don't have, some power line running down the middle. I think your comments are apt of, we need to understand where this invisible easement is, because we may not have as much to build as we want, and we may have someone want in on it later. We need to understand this encroachment as well. And is this something that we give them a notice and say, hey, we'll let you stay, but if we need to move you off in the future, we will. And what that does is it may cut off their adverse possession rights to say, well, we've been here notorious and conspicuous for years, and say, okay, that's fine. We're not going to nose you out, but we're going to reserve our rights because we're buying it. You have to negotiate with sell a little bit more, but you're not selling me 1.8, you're selling me 1.7 because you've let them build a little bit pell-mell. And we need that survey because they've let somebody else build a little bit pell-mell. They've gone out and, done that instead of had someone shoot a line and stake it and say, no, that you shouldn't hard surface over there, that's not yours. So I think when we get that will tell the tale. And that will let Chief Allen and the staff know that's big enough, we can fit what we need on there. I just don't remember how big 144, that wasn't super big.
Yeah, it was really close to about that.
Like 2.3.
something like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I think it's about 2.3.
So, I think we need to get a survey, and then we'll take those 2 tracks. One will be get title clean the way we like it, and make sure the survey looks the way we like it.
So do we move forward with,
The way I've structured the resolution is, it just authorizes you to go ahead and have Don be the purchasing agent and spend, plus all the other transactional costs. You don't really authorize additional details of how the purchasing agent goes forward with the transaction, but we've always got title work. I think we've almost always done survey, at least since I've been around, just to make sure we're not buying something encumbered by others, and we know what we're getting, particularly if we're gonna have a later use, because we've got to show that to our future contractors to know where to put stuff. So either you survey it now, or you survey it then, but no one will go build because they're scared they're gonna cut hard surface or fence or building corner on someone else's property. So, might as well do it now.
so Steve and I are signing off on something that's finite.
I've got some questions. So the station 144 was 2.3 acres?
I believe so.
I think that's still parcel, but
We didn't use
Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
the footprint of the buildings, no.
I think we should stop right here if we're not going to
No.
have enough land. The other question I got, you caught on there, had to do with the daycare. Well, who is using?
That's the driveway and the parking lot to the east. And that's the one that it looks like, from what I can read, looks like there's a formal easement that's been granted there. But, and so that is, we know what it is.
Yeah.
Like Jeff said, knowing what's buildable space might be really important when we go through making final decisions, and then also the inquiry about the lane that is along the north edge of the property.
My other concern would be, I know all of our stations, we have issues with the parking lots being
Yeah.
too small. So if there's nowhere to grow that parking lot, we want to make sure we have
I mean, it meets, location wise, it meets that. So I don't want to necessarily give up on this piece, but
We can check and see what the exact size of the last one was, just
Clarence, what,
get
how,
comparison.
It doesn't have to be the same building.
do you have surveyors that you can get one for us?
We can check.
How long do they typically take? If I'm afraid.
Well,
It depends on their schedule.
probably, it might take a couple of weeks.
Based on the way he wrote the resolution, I'd recommend to you that you also put a stipulation pending the survey and pending the ability to have proper area on that property to build a potential fire station. And put those clarities on it. And that restricts me from going out and just going by it.
Do we need to revise the resolution then, or can I
No,
handle it?
Jeff, you told me the resolution you wrote, you said it gave you the authority, but pending other,
It authorizes, and some people short on this stuff, they authorize 475, and then I come around, and I'm like, well, Mr. Comer wants paid, others want paid, and so, and sometimes we don't know until we get a settlement statement what those necessary transactional costs, so that's baked in. Why don't you just write in, subject to survey, and if you want me to, you can move on to the next item, table this, I'll write it in for you, roll back to it, approve this, we'll make it subject to survey and preliminary, feasibility of footprint. Just to make sure that we can make everything fit, because as we know too, Avon will want their rights of way and setback and other things, and then we've got a corner lot, we've got the boulevard. But at the same time, that easement may be easement for everyone, we might already have some drive already baked in, so it's hard to know.
That's what I understood, and I can't remember from where, that the fire department could probably use that drive and access their parking lot if they extended that parking lot to the fire station.
I think we need to look at what was understood, and then if that's going to be the case, having not too long ago had experience driving into daycares and having some experience in the equipment they have, often the weights they are built for are not compatible. So we'll need to check and make sure that if it's built to understand what the tonnage of what they've got. So if you want me to do a quick
Yes, please.
write up on that, and we've got time baked into the purchase agreement for.
just for your benefit, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Claire, but the agreement that you and I did when we made the offer, and, all they did was kind of back on the price, because we originally asked, so we could at $425, but it was also that this would be pending your approval, and also the funding is approved by the state too, so there's other steps that have to be involved. This is, if you approve what he's writing up, it doesn't start that either, so.
So, and we have the cash to cover this?
We have the cash reserve, yeah, but Jeff Peters, I did check with him, he said, yes, we have the reserves. that we need.
Right, you have a comment?
I just, our owner's rep let me know that the footprint is 1.4
Under 2 acres.
There you go. We only have 1.7 or 1.84, I mean,
Yeah, and then setbacks
Mhm.
there, so.
does that include a parking lot? The whole footprint? Does that cause you concern?
Well, I think probably one of the biggest concerns that I would have pause for is the drainage retention. Depending on the size of the project, there's always, you have to have drainage retention. And, we don't have to have a lot of green space, but we have to have retention. So whether we do that above ground or you can do it underground, that would be quite a bit more expensive. So I think that would be one of the biggest concerns that I could see. I think we could put a station on that size parcel, but my only concern would be if you look at the detention area that we had to have before. It's a pretty good piece of real estate, so. And like Ted said, we can always go up, but sometimes you sacrifice the speed of response with going up, because then the people have to navigate the stairs or whatever it is, sometimes not.
I wonder if that parcel wasn't considered in the amount of retention pond they have there on the other side.
That's already there, you're saying?
I have to go with that.
That's my something you can ask and
I'm
find
just
out.
wondering if it is. I don't know.
Normally, they calculate that off blacktop and that kind of thing, so I don't know how they can calculate an existing one, not knowing what size parking lot we would have if we built there or whatever. So,
But survey would identify like if there's a swale down the back and
Sure.
you're tying in,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just where we're taking
drainage
on hold.
easement.
Can you tell him what kind of survey we need so he can get a surveyor? to-
Yeah. We need an Alta survey. If you want me to just nail it down for you, I can. We just gotta find somebody that's free. I mean, the universe is busy right now. Anybody capable of working, so.
Available.
yeah, I mean, it's-
Free.
Free to work.
Yeah, no,
All right, what I
like
did
those
was,
words.
I added an asterisk, subject to obtaining an acceptable Alta, which is just jargon, land survey, an adequate size of parcel to locate a fire station and main two places for you to initial, so it doesn't look like I came around and I authored that in, so.
I guess my concern is, okay, so we have the cash, it's zoned correctly, right? All of those things have been taken into consideration. I just feel like we're paving around holes just a little bit. I'm with you, I'd rather not go up if we don't have to. Are there any other available pieces of land, or was this
yeah.
nothing?
That's the dilemma.
I'm not saying they're not easy to come by.
They're not willing to sell.
Right.
And holding off for the developer and that kind of stuff, but they, unfortunately, and we, two meetings ago, we had two town council members here, who said that we need to get on this right away, because they also knew that property was being taken a lot down there, so it's just, all of a sudden, this probably should have been started over a year ago, but over a year ago, it wasn't, it wasn't the issue. And also the property was still available, so it's all of a sudden everybody's developers are now wanting to, we had that property to develop it and now they're ready to develop it. So that's the situation.
Well, I think the other thing we might want to keep in mind too is we had to buy a residential property and raise it last time. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's favorable, but that's always an option. But,
Now, one thing with this one, because it had a house on it and like that, so that the property tax that we'd be responsible for would be for this current term, the other half, and then that would be it. And we would, whereas it had property on it, we have to pay additional property taxes, so you actually, use it for what you're supposed to.
Yeah, that's what, that'd be, well, what, the other one was $1,800,
Yeah.
and this has 150 or something like that for raw land, so.
We're not
little bit,
we're
but
not
not
locking
substantially.
ourselves in, at least we would have, for what costs we incurred, we covered about $1,800 in appraisal fees between the two appraisers, and then the surveyor would run roughly what, Clarence?
Probably, I'm gonna say close to 3,000.
So we're talking about almost $5,000 amount of money to see if this is a doable situation.
I feel more comfortable spending that
Yeah.
than I do
475.
spending that much money and finding it's like you said, a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
So I still would feel comfortable with
Yeah.
pursuing it that much further, and then we can make a more informed decision and say, yeah, if it works, we can make it work and go from there.
Especially if you don't feel like there's any other options right now.
Well, I mean, he and Jason both have been working a lot. So.
Okay. So then I guess we just need a motion.
Okay. I move that we adopt resolution 100422-0, I guess that's 3, right? Yeah, the renumbered now.
With the amendments.
Right. With the amendments that we will initial.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Let's just do our due diligence and make sure.
Yeah, definitely. back on the survey, and just looked it over, and the fire department, number two for the footprint.
Okay, just note that we had concerns, so let's make sure we get all of our questions answered.
I'm gonna ask you guys to be straight up. We have to pass this property, we have to pass this.
Definitely. Okay, are there any public comments? Wishes to be heard? Okay. All right, then the next meeting will be October 25th at 6:30. That is our special board meeting. The hearing on the citizen petition concerning the consolidation of the town of Avon and Washington Township. And that has officially been moved to the pavilion, correct? And then November 9th is at 6:30 is our Greater Avon Joint Workshop, and that is at the White Oak Elementary School. There in the back, in the, what's the name of that room? What are they calling that?
Remember what they call it?
Yeah, Professional Development Center, thank you, Karen. And then after that, November 15th at 3 p.m. is our regular township board meeting held here. And with that, I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We will adjourn, second, all those in favor? Aye. Adjourned at 3:31 p.m.